So in the winter of last year, I was quite unhappy with how things were going for me. I thought that I wasn't good enough for what I was doing, even though I was going to the gym multiple times a week, even though I ate pretty healthy, even though I learned quite a lot and got good grades. And then this continued until summer, until I then kind of discovered Buddhism for myself. So I went into a kind of monk phase for the whole summer break. I was meditating 2 hours a day, which was quite a lot for me. And I also watched videos of a Buddhist monk, which had like this 1 hour and 30 minutes videos that he was talking about all these different topics of Buddhism and how they can help you with your happiness and going away from suffering, right? I've just realized how happy I was back then in this summer phase. How few bad thoughts I actually had, how happy I was, even though it kind of felt like a slow life. So in this video I want to talk about how I basically gaslighted myself into being happier, into changing my mindset in a way that actually benefits me more than it did hurt in the winter. So the first concept which I want to explain to you is the unaware and aware thoughts. You've surely heard of meditation and how you don't stick to any thoughts when you're meditating, like you're going back into the present moment. When you meditate, you've surely noticed that thoughts just come up, and these we call the unaware thoughts. And these unaware thoughts, they can be negative. Most of the time they are negative. Like when you're meditating, they will say something like, "It's so long. I'm not enjoying this. I'm wasting my time. I've got so much to do." It's like restlessness and worry, basically. And these thoughts will just basically pop up throughout your day, throughout all of your thoughts. And then there's also thoughts we can put into another category, and these are aware thoughts. So aware thoughts are basically the things you're saying to yourself in your head. When you're trying to calculate a math problem in class, you're saying to yourself like, "Oh yeah, 2 times 6, okay, we got that, and then times 3." These are the aware thoughts. And now, aware thoughts can be positive or negative. It's like you can shape them how you want them to be. So what's actually quite interesting is that the unaware thoughts and the aware thoughts correlate. You won't think so insecurely anymore if you just thought good things the entire day. If you were happy about the world the entire day. You get what I'm saying? So of course this won't happen just overnight or over a day, but if you get only these aware positive thoughts, if you actually go out on your school way and then see, "Oh yeah, the moon's very bright today, I like that. There's some nice clouds. The sun is coming through again, I like the sun." If you think these grateful thoughts, you'll naturally discover things unawarely that you wouldn't have noticed. Like the temperature of your room. When you've just gotten back from a trip, you go back into your house, then suddenly you just notice it's a bit warmer in here. Now you're grateful, now you're happy because you've noticed the change. So in the winter I was quite an insecure person still. I didn't throw it out onto the world, but I had these worries in my head. There was this one guy which came into the gym more often, and he had more muscle than me, and I was getting quite insecure about my body and if I was doing enough, if I was working hard enough. But these were my aware thoughts, like aware and unaware, of course. But then I learned to change it into aware thoughts so that I could actually look at the guy and say to myself, "Good for him that he's here today. I see he's working hard. And he looks quite good actually. I hope he keeps going." Because now this might be a new take for you. I think in the modern world, like the other guys around us are portrayed as way more evil than they actually are. Like they are seen as our competitors rather than our brothers, rather than people we could grow with and develop some good relationships with. They are actually the enemy that could just take everything from us. But it's not like that, right? We can correlate. It's not that there's this one woman everybody wants to have, and then we go towards her and some other guy takes her. Oh no. No, it's actually that we can correlate. Like, you see on YouTube, there's all these different gaming channels which have kind of their own niche, which have found the game and their audience which they want to resonate to. And you would agree with me that you're not like the next guy, right? You have your kind of own purpose, your own truths, your own principles. So, can you see how it's just different? You still can build the same body. You can still both get muscular, and he's not better than you, you're not better than him. I can feel you if you think it's kind of rough to get the competition out of your life. And I won't actually say get the competition out of your life, but get this negative, the competition that doesn't benefit you out of your life. Like, if there's a guy in your gym that has been going for 2 years long and you just started, and he benches 60 kilos, you only bench 20. Of course, you'll feel weaker than him, but he had 2 years already, and you can actually be proud of him. Like, you don't have to be that, like, you don't have to be where he is right now. You have time for yourself, and if you're working hard on it, of course you could achieve it too, right? If you gave your mind to it, you would achieve the thing you would want to. So you'd agree with me that you will feel like you're not good enough when you have insecurities pop up. Instead, just see them as your brothers and hope that they grow. Like, we should be on the sides we should be on the side of our friends, of other people generally, because this makes us a much better person to be around, with less insecurities, with less worries. But it will also make you happier, because if you look at the other people's successes, of course you will be happy for them. And this will spark a little happiness in you and also some inspiration, which you can then use to pursue your other endeavors. Because what can other people really take from you? Like, the worst case is like two guys are attracted to the same girl, and then the girl chooses one of them. But still, you would agree with me that there's still other great women that you would want to have, right? She's not the only one that you think is attractive. And also, I think it kind of evens out. Like, if you're doing really well in life, then you will also and have the principles to be at that level. And the woman also has the principles to be at the level as well. And is so honest as to keep that. Then you will naturally be on the same level. You'll, with your actions and your mindset and everything you do, you basically get on a level, right? And then you would also want a woman that is at that level as well. Because getting kind of higher can happen, but it's rare. And getting below that, if you have respect for yourself, you wouldn't do that. They can't take muscle from you. They can't take success in business from you. Because you are fundamentally different to them, right? You don't even want to do what they have in mind. You have another task that they don't have. You would choose another business model. So don't be scared of the guys. This was a thing I struggled with for a long time, so I hope I can get you out of this quickly so you can feel a lot more comfortable in social interactions and all the time, actually. That you actually see it for yourself. Like, you don't have to compete with anybody, but you can prove something to yourself. I thought thinking like this was kind of cringe when I saw this in a WhatsApp status from a mother of a friend. But then You know what fulfills you in life? It's surely not showing the bully that you could actually be a good person all the way. It's being happy with yourself. Like proving people wrong feels good for the moment. But this can also lead to some difficulty in life. Like you start going down the wrong track that you didn't actually want. Imagine a guy which has been bullied in school for being broke, and now he's going up to be a businessman, making millions a month. But actually, he wanted to be a monk, not a businessman. And now he pursued this wrong purpose his whole life long, and his soul is kind of drained, is kind of drained out from of the like from following the wrong purpose. This is where burnout comes from. Like you're not doing the right things if you feel that you can't continue doing what you do. There's no shame in switching up your life. You could work a job for this long of a time and then leave when it feels right, and then try to go on some adventures, take some time off, and then jump back into going to retreats with monks, basically. This is something I still dream about, and I'm trying to get a little spot in a monastery close by in Germany. So this I'm looking forward to. So I've also learned to be happier was to switch my mind into a more childlike perspective. So, for example, I don't watch the news because I think most of the things are just like poison to my mind, which would make me unhappy, which would give me worry in my head. They won't even affect me. This news from Russia, this news from the USA. There's always bad stuff going on in the world, right? But actually, ignorance is bliss sometimes. And I believe that if we want to get happier, we of course have to kind of shield ourselves from the bad stuff that will poison our minds, as I said. And this is not egotistical. Like, could you help if you heard this news where you like the guy that did the marathon back to them to bring them a letter, get them some food? Like, you can donate to things that actually matter, but oh, 10 people have just died in a forest fire. What is there that you can do? Now you get these worries about, oh, what if a forest fire breaks out at our place too? Oh no. And then you can't actually sleep tonight, or you dream about this stuff. It gets kind of stuck in your head for a few days, and you worry a bit. And this we don't want. We want to be happy and like live the authentic life without worrying too much. I've also learned to kind of don't look at the consequences of things, because if you look at the consequences most of the time, you would love. We as humans look at the downsides, right? So of course you can think about, oh, would it be good now if I was driving away a week and I couldn't see my parents for this long? Okay, there's no risk of anything happening. Yeah, good. I would drive. But if you worry about the consequences of small things, like if you want to say something in class, you've known this. You're kind of insecure and don't want to talk actually, but you get picked. So you have to say something, and then you worry about that the others might laugh like I did. And through these insecurities, through this little fear, you will become smaller and can't actually live what you had wanted. Also, I think freedom plays a big part in this. Like, in the system, we get kind of forced into our positions, right? Like, we have to stay in school for this long a day, for this many years, and then we can go find a job because we need money. We aren't we aren't given much of freedom. If you think about the guys that come back after the holidays changed, like did a complete 180, they had the summer holidays the entire day to develop themselves. And during school time, people rarely change, they stay the same. This just shows to me that we are getting robbed of our development. We actually learn for stuff that we don't even care about really. We learn math equations that we're never going to use. So the next tip I would have given to my younger self is to not suppress himself. That he lives his life authentically, even if it seems weird to the others or he kind of goes against the grain. Because you see the average teenager of your age, like, he's probably pretty boring and consumes these junk food items. And that's not you, right? So why would you go along with the group and then eat the Big Mac even though you didn't even want it? So you get happy through living authentically, doing the things you want to do. Like, if that's going into the forest and screaming, fine, go do it. Learning a new skill takes a lot of time, right? And with school, we work the entire days. We wake up at 6 a.m. and then work the entire day until we get back from school, and then we're kind of tired. We feel bad from the bread that we've eaten, from the carbohydrates that are like processed. And then what do we really want to do? We maybe want to play video games, okay? If you're following that impulse, then every day, of course, you're going to get further in the game, but you don't actually develop skills that you would want. Of course, I can see why people get back from school and then don't want to do anything because the school was this boring and they now want simulation. So it's kind of hard, honestly, to live your authentic life. And like the summer break in which I was going through this monk phase, I honestly liked it a lot. Like, I was going out on these walks alone, and then there was this amazing sun. Like, you know the sun in the summer if you're not from the UK. Yeah, you know the sun in the summer that just glows and sizzles up into your eyes so you can't actually see. It's it's the crickets that I enjoyed. We often obsess about the bigger things, right? We have to be in a job in 3 years. Like, these are the things we talk about, but there's this art in kind of taking into account the small things and actually being grateful for things that other people are not, even though it goes against the grain. The last tip I would give is to see things with more humor. Like, if you saw the perfect man, like the man you want to become, he's not going to be cold all of the time. You know, you would like to be the guy that actually can laugh a lot, that has good humor. Yesterday I was asking a guy in the gym for his weights, and he had AirPods in. So I tried to get his attention, like almost shouting, but he didn't even react. And my gym buddy was standing behind me and laughing his ass off. And I just laughed as well. A couple of years ago, I would have gotten insecure because the other guy in the gym saw what just happened, that I've just gotten ignored. It's to embrace the humor in things. So the last thing I want to talk about is probably quite important for you. It goes into dealing with other people. And the Buddhist monk, he actually had a nice philosophy from Buddhism. He said that the people who are angry or treat us badly, we should actually show them compassion because they are hurting themselves. They are saying these bad things into the world and with that poisoning themselves. So we should show compassion for them. Mudita. It's called in the Pali language, I think. Mudita. And if we can show people and if we can show people compassion and patience, if we are not giving the same ugly energy back, then we can get onto a good level with ourselves. Like, you would agree that the people which are mean don't really matter to you. They're just to be reckoned with you in your life, right? But now imagine if you didn't saw yourself as the victim, but actually the guy aggressing you was the victim, because he honestly is, right? For what reasons would he give out this aggressive, hostile energy into the world if he was happy? No happy guy does that. Actually, just an hour back, I actually read a chapter on this by Eckhart Tolle in the book The Power of Now. So it's that the opposite of enlightenment is basically suffering. So the suffering body, which are these bullies, they are feeding off of bad feelings. So they want bad feelings, even though they don't admit it, they want bad feelings to them because then they can feed their ego, I think the guy called it. And if we don't give them that ego, like it doesn't get validated anymore. So am I crazy for thinking that we should actually help the bullies and show them compassion? Like not give them the energy back that they need to contain their suffering. What about we actually get them back into a decent life in which they can be happy as well? If you know any guys that this video might help, please share this video with them. I also have a Discord server if you're willing to join that. You can find some like-minded guys that want to grow like you. I hope this video brought you some value and some perspective out of my life, which I've actually used to build up a nice mind state over time. Actually, I would say 90% of the thoughts that I think in the day are actually positive, also about other people. Of course, if there's the guy spinning on the ground, I feel some negativity towards him, right? But then, actually, the solution to that is just showing him compassion for his blinded behavior, right? Just like the Buddhist monks do. So it's actually a quite nice philosophy, I think. And I think it will benefit you in your daily life if you're struggling with that. So please try it out and let me know if it worked for you. Have a nice evening, and I'll see you soon.